I mean, it's no more ridiculous than the head that came with it. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. I've already reviewed the DC Multiverse Monsterverse Superman vs. Godzilla 2-pack. Today is going to be a showcase of assorted Superman head swaps. Before I get swapping though, and I just want to take a moment to show off this awesome Superman custom. It was a gift from our friend Taylor De Los Santos. The base body is DC Rebirth, with the trunks and boots coming from Justice League Task Force. I'm really impressed by how well the Task Force calves connect with the rest of the Rebirth legs. The cape comes from Task Force as well. Overall, this looks great and is a wonderful surprise. Thank you so much. I also want to take a moment to show off this Superboy update. This suggestion comes from Jorge Arturo Barrera Gonzalez. It combines the jacket overlay from the Marvel Legends Chamber with the arms from the previous Superboy. Yeah, you've still got that patch on the shoulder, but overall, this is great. I picked up these water slide decals for my Silver Age emblem swap, and luckily it came with some yellow S's as well, so I should be able to finish that up with no problem. I've also got these glasses from the Marvel Legends retro card Peter Parker, but I want to work on them just a little bit more before committing. On to the matter at hand though, and I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. The whole point of this video is to find a better head to go on this body, so with that in mind, I'm actually not going to be showing you this head on the other figures. A couple here and there where it feels appropriate, but really this video is about what other heads are going to look better here. With all of that out of the way, let's dig in. First up, and let's get started with our Sundry Action Comics 1000s. Off the bat, and it's pretty obvious that the Atomic Skull 2-pack skin tone is way too different, so I'm just going to focus on the original release and the Walmart exclusive. Out of the gate, and this is already a fantastic combination. I used a Hush neck peg so that the head would sit more naturally, and I think it works really well. The skin tones are perfect, and already I'd be totally fine with this as my standard Superman. If you can't find the original release, here's how the Walmart exclusive version looks. Even though the head is the same, I think an argument could be made that it's even a little bit better. Not just the skin tones, but the overall quality of the paint job. I don't want to get lost in the weeds with side-by-side comparisons, but with those darker blues, this version of the Trinity looks great together. Also, if you're having a good time so far, do me a favor and give this video a big ol' like. Action Comics is a perfect segue to DC Rebirth because they have the same head. I think I like the paint job and the color matching on Action Comics slightly better, but this is really good too. The point is that if you prefer this style of head, there are a lot of options for getting it. There is, of course, always the Ultraman 2-pack version of Rebirth. As for how much of an improvement this is, I'll let you be the judge. Either way, the skin tones don't match, so you're gonna have to do some painting. For the most classic style use of that body, however, and here we have Hush. Sculpt-wise, and I really like how this goes together. Although the skin tones in the face are different, the shading does help to blend it. Stepping back though, and I do think it would benefit from a touch-up. Now if you want a Hush-style head in a darker skin tone, may I suggest this? The Superman that came with the Doomsday 2-pack. As you can see, I have cannibalized mine for parts. It's a little bit off, but really hard to tell. The nice thing is you get the benefit of the angry Superman head without the silly looking open mouth. If McFarlane had just used this head for the Godzilla set and included the regular one as an alternate, it would have been perfect, and they still would have saved money by not having to sculpt a new head. For what might just still be my favorite McFarlane Superman head, however, and here we have Action Comics #1. From a design standpoint, I really like how this looks. To my eye, this feels more Silver Age than the actual Silver Age Superman. Unfortunately though, the skin tones are too different for a simple swap. For the swap I might just be the most curious about though, and here we have the mulleted Return of Superman. I know there's a proper mulleted version coming out as a Page Punchers, but I was kind of thinking about passing on that. What I like about this is it's the same head as Action Comics 1000, so if I wanted to make that my base, it'd all be consistent. I will say the skin tones are a little bit different, but remember, if you're intimidated by painting a face, you could always just paint the neck. From an oversized Superman to an under, and here's DC Classic. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I've always liked this head. For my taste, waists, though it is a bit small for this body. Additionally, and once again, the skin tones don't match, so if you like it, you will need to do some painting. Another figure built off the Page Puncher Superman is this year's New 52. As someone who didn't really care for the New 52 figure, this is a pleasant surprise. The skin tones are a very close match, so you don't have to do any painting, and overall, I like the proportions here much better than on New 52. This brings us to Crisis on Infinite Earths and the base body that the Godzilla Superman was built on. Now, I'm not going to actually do a swap with this figure, because ew. And speaking of ew, here's the Justice League Task Force. The thing is, I'm really only interested in the head, and to be honest, I'm conflicted. With a complete repaint to make him look less apricot and less like he's wearing lipstick, I think that there is a good sculpt under there. There's also the fact that it was designed to go on this body, so from a scaling perspective, that's helpful. Personally, I'm on the fence, but let me know what you think in the comments. For a swap I know I'm excited for, however, and here we have Max Fleischer. I gotta say, this doesn't look half bad. The skin tone on the Fleischer is ever so rosier, so it does clash a bit, but sculpt-wise, I do like how this head looks, even if it does look like his eyes are closed. Now I'm gonna go slightly out of order and go straight for Silver Age. For a lot of us, this is the most important comparison, and it does not disappoint. True, the skin tones don't match, but I do want to point something out. Because these are the same bodies, you could always heat up the neck pieces and swap those too. It would be a bit of extra work, but if you like this combo, I think it would be totally worth it. Leastways, I know that I'm tempted. That being said, for one of the most important other comparisons, and let's talk about Kingdom Come. In my review, I pointed out that the larger logo and darker blue is very reminiscent of Alex Ross's artwork, and this is the closest thing we have to an Alex Ross DC Multiverse head. It's not perfect, but without buying a third-party one, it's close enough. Most importantly, because they didn't whiten the temples properly, he doesn't look all that old. If you like what you see, swap the neck and you're good to go. Part of why we're going out of order, though, is because I have gotten some requests to do a swap between Kingdom Come and Gladiator. This head is way too small. If you like it, though, I'm happy to help, and happy painting. The other reason for doing things out of order is because I thought that the Gladiator Superman would be a nice segue to more stylized costumes. And wouldn't you know it, but this head is way too small for this body too.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
The skin tones are a better match though, so do with that knowledge what you will. While I'm here though, I did think this was a good opportunity for trying the other way around. Unfortunately though, and just like the Gladiator head is too small, this head is way too big. On the subject of Supermen who are way too big, let's bust out the Page Puncher's Ghosts of Krypton. I had misgivings, but this is actually better looking than I thought it was going to be. If you like your Clark a bit more rough and tumble, this is pretty cool. It goes without saying that you're going to have to do a little bit of painting, but proportion-wise at least, this works just fine. Next, and I'd like to take a look at some live-action options, starting with Christopher Reeve. To be honest, I wasn't really all that interested in a head swap, but I gotta say, this is really cool. The skin tones are a much better match than I was expecting, so it really goes well together, and while it might not be totally accurate to Christopher Reeve's costume or proportions, I still like it. For this one, I'm actually much more interested in doing a trunk swap. And yeah, this is a huge improvement. Not just the fact that the belt loops are painted, but that they're much thicker. The red is a bit brighter as compared to the boots, but overall I really wish the Christopher Reeve Superman was easier to come by, because these trunks are always an upgrade. Unless, of course, you're Henry Cavill, in which case you don't need trunks. I love seeing what Cavill could have looked like in a more classic comic-style costume, and this one might be my favorite. As much as I like his costume, I've always found it to be drab and colorless. This shows you could have put him in darker colors, but still be unmistakably blue. Rounding out that big screen trio, and here we have David Corenswet. Just like Cavill, David is a big enough dude that if you just put him in tights like this, I think he would have looked fine. Not that it's a spectacular likeness, but it still gives us an idea. As his Superman embraces his human heritage in future sequels, I hope he embraces a costume closer to this. That said, he spent so much time screaming in that movie that I figured we should try this swap. People were gonna die! Where's the dog? Ah! The sun! Swear to me! I'm not locked in here with you! You're locked in here with me! Attica! Attica! I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore! Star! Stella! That's a Marlon Brando joke, because Marlon Brando played Jor-El. Maybe kill a bunch of people and start a harem. And that's a Bradley Cooper joke, because he played Jor-El. David Corenswet is a fantastic transition to Ultraman and other Sinister Supermen. Just a note though, I have gotten requests to do a head swap between David Corenswet and the DC Multiverse movie Ultraman, but I doubt that I'm going to be picking him up. McFarlane has made it clear that they're not going to be making other characters from the movie like Hawkgirl or Guy Gardner, so if they're not going to be finishing the collection, I don't really feel any need to either. Back to Ultraman, and this combination is fun. The skin tones don't match, but if it sparks any ideas, I'm happy to help. Also, this was one time I thought it made sense to do the other way around. The mismatched skin tones aren't as obvious here. With the exception of the hands, I think you could get away with it. Leaping over the Iron Curtain in a single bound, and here we have Red Sun Superman. If you want a more stoic, serious Superman, this is a swap for you. The skin tones look great together. I don't know if this makes sense, but it feels to me like what Henry Cavill's Superman might look like if he were drawn in a comic. Next up is Justice Lord Superman from Batman Beyond. It goes without saying that this is gonna have to be repainted, but I love the sculpt of this head and I'd really like to see it painted in a more neutral tone. It also just scales really well. Now, of course, we've got to bring out a couple of Bizarros. The darker blue suit is a great starting point for a custom, especially if you want to pair him with Silver Age Superman. I do think I prefer the head on the recent classic version though, and of course this is the body I preferred that they would have come out with. That said, if you want a more classic style Bizarro on that body, this upcoming Jokerized Superman might be a good starting point. For the darker color scheme though, and this is the way to go. Lastly, and here we have the Insidious Cyborg Superman, but this one isn't going to be so much a head swap as a part swap. While I'm perfectly happy with this color scheme, I know a lot of people were hoping he'd have been made in a darker blue, more like this one. Before the official one was announced, I got this custom off of eBay and I was pretty happy with it. The artist made it using a combination of Justice League Task Force and Cyborg. If you want to make a darker Cyborg Superman with a minimum of joint painting, this is what I recommend. This or the upcoming Page Puncher Superman's left arm and his right leg. Sure, you'll be missing some Cyborg parts, but it's not like McFarlane painted it anyway. Then it's just a matter of painting the torso and the upper left leg, which, while still articulated, has less of a chance for paint rub. While you're at it, maybe go ahead and paint the logo too. Which combination was your favorite? Were there any I didn't do that you were hoping to see? Tell me everything in the comments below, and while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any upcoming videos. For some more super videos, check out one of these, and until next time, play nice and have fun.